Holy schmoly. We're checking out VTuber news, and it's been months since I've done so. And bro, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on. Let's check it out.
Ripped off for years. That main story in just a moment. Firstly, today we turn back to the Hellhound Wolf VTuber Sender, now missing in action for over a month, all while her Discord has been locked down. That potentially changing soon, as Ikemen would post on the Discord. The remaining team is currently working on getting some stuff ironed out to allow a slow unlock of the general channels. We are still planning how we are going to do the unlock, but it will be gradual, starting with intermittent unlocks or slow mode increasing in duration over time. Currently, the team is working on onboarding some help to actually get some more eyes on the server to allow us to unlock it. All while all eyes are still on Sameko Saba.
If you guys hear that noise, it's construction, bro. I'll mute my mic.
Their YouTube channel now racking up over 434,000 subscribers, and their singular video, Saba Saba, now with 1.5 million views.
I'm not gonna lie, for some reason I thought this would get easily over 800K. That's interesting.
As now, an official logo has been officially trademarked. This trademark listed under the purposes for merchandise. As now we can see that Nijisanji English's Kodaka Torihime has officially graduated. Her Twitter account being locked down simply hours after her last message to her fans, sharing this last piece of artwork by her character illustrator, and then 3 hours after her graduation stream, then removing all content from her YouTube channel, except for her song releases, which include 2 new songs from the past week. Kodaka, before her graduation announcement, even revealing a brand new outfit, mortalized here by Nijisanji English's Ver Vermilion, simply tweeting out, "Good afternoon, my coworker is hot." And now today we return back to the artist and live 2D rigger, Suika, their customizable VTuber model selling nearly 5,000 copies, and who is now calling out Yena, another digital artist and live 2D rigger, claiming that Yena has been tracing their work for years now, alongside also tracing the work of Tina, another freelance illustrator. Suika originally tweeting out, "I'm so tired of staying silent. It's great having so many followers here, but that means I'm not allowed to call out people who wrong me if they are smaller than me, because it would start a witch hunt." And seeing well-known VTubers commission and praise them for straight-up copying and low-key tracing my work is an additional slap in the face. I don't even want to call out people. There shouldn't be a need for it, because we talked privately in DMs 3 years ago, and I was told they would stop copying me and tracing others' models, but nothing changed. Instead, I am blocked by them, and they keep doing it. At what point have they had enough? I've had them blocked for years before blocked people could even see posts. They must have used an alt account to stalk my art and keep copying it. What kind of weird obsession is this? Suika then dropping a Google document with, "I have tried to resolve this issue with them privately in 2022, but it seems they have not changed." This document beginning with, "It is for spreading awareness about an individual that has been copying me for many years and has a history of tracing and taking inspiration that is too close for comfort. I am hoping that this is a wake-up call for them and that the heavy referencing and copying is finally put to an end. Please do not go out of your way and DM or comment under Yena's post to harass her. I do not condone this action." Too long didn't read. Yenari has been copying me and had an unhealthy obsession with me and my art for years. When I reached out to her in DMs in 2022, she said she would stop, but didn't, and the copying has been going on to this day. This document beginning with, "Why are you not resolving this situation privately?" and responding to that question with, "I tried resolving it privately back in March of 2022 with her in DMs. Despite my best efforts, the copying has been going on still to this day." Suika then going on to show this proof of the block from Yena, and then providing a screenshot of the most recent quote-unquote copying, this being from May 24th of 2025, a day prior to the creation of this document. Suika saying, "I got a DM by someone who recognized my art style and did a layover of my customizable model in Yena's newest post. These 2 models placed over one another as seen here." Suika saying, "At first glance, it looks very similar, but when I lined up both images, the entire face outline, neck position, upper middle lip proportions, and shape lined up near perfectly. The eyes, as you can see here, do not line up, but when focusing on only the eyes, you just have to edit the eye size, vertical, and eye shape parameters, where the the eye of the customizable VTuber model a little, and you have a very similar eye. So saying, for context, I have made a customizable VTuber model that has customizable eye shapes, so anyone who owns the model could change the eye shape to exactly this one. So adding the fact that the entire eye style, the shape and curve of the upper eye line, the shape and curve of the lower eye line, the placements of the eye highlights, the sudden addition of a tear duct, the sudden appearance of a lower waterline, the curve of the eye line. Isolated, these details aren't owned by any artist, however, putting everything together created a unique combination that makes up someone's unique art style. Then showing off Yena's eye versus the edited eye shape side by side, and now going into those DMs from 2022. Yena originally reaching out to Suika, saying, "Hi, I did a piece for your debut day today," sending this congrats on debut artwork, as Suika would eventually reply with, "It's come to my attention that you posted a new VTuber model on TikTok. It looks very similar to my 2.0. You know, the one you drew for my birthday. And I have noticed that your art style has changed a lot to resemble mine more. And while I get that everyone gets inspiration from other artists, usually they do not copy the entire art style. For it to be 100% ripped off is not very nice. I hope you understand, and I get that the model is already rigged, but I'd still feel very uncomfortable knowing people will think I drew you, so I would appreciate if you change the eyes more to your own style a bit." Suika then going on to show a comparison here, and in DM saying, "Here are both models side by side. I don't think I need to point out the similarities, especially because you went from this to that. I also want to address some tracing I have noticed, producing this screenshot and saying legs made by you and legs made by me, further than placing the models over one another, then showing off a comparison of the eyes. Yena replying, "Yeah, they do look pretty similar. I really adore your work, and if you think that I am copying your art style, I have no problem with changing mine. I'll stop selling models for the time being while I recenter my art style. Sorry for the troubles." Suika replying, "No,
I'm not gonna lie, that is like the most interesting responses. I'm sorry that, you know, we have a confusion going on. Maybe it seems like I'm copying you. And since we have this issue, let me try and change the way I do my art." I ain't gonna lie, bro. That seemed like cap.
I don't think you understand. They're not just similar. They line up perfectly. That's like not cap, a coincidence. You know, then replying, "I'm in class right now, so I can't reply much, and it won't be until later that I can." Later stating, "I really didn't trace your work. I think it was just the factors such as both being VTuber models, both being the same archetypal anime girl character, and the fact that I was heavily inspired by your work that made it look so similar. That being said, I was wrong to heavily reference your work and did minimal adjustments on my part. I'm sorry about that, and I won't do it again." Suika replying, "Let's say it's not traced. The fact that it's so identical it could be traced is still too much." Further asking, "Are you going to change your model? You never said anything about it, and please take down the TikTok videos of the model version that looks like mine." I've even gotten more DMs about people asking if I was the artist. You know, further replying, "With the tracing of the models, I have sent the side-by-side pic you first sent to other artists, and they said that they look similar but not traced." Saying further, "I have complied with both parties. I have apologized. I have given my word that changes will be made from now on. If you are threatening a call-out post because I am not feeding you the exact words you want to hear, feel free, because I have said everything on my part and I don't have anything to hide. You also mentioned that you'd like to handle this privately. I have gotten harassed by your followers, and I was under the impression that this was being handled privately between involved parties." Suika making clear, "I did tell my close friends about the situation because I was very upset, and they went to comment under her post, which I do not condone, but I think everyone has friends like this that want to protect you. At this point, I was just tired and accepted the fact that she wouldn't own up to her tracing properly, so I just accepted the apology the way it was and wanted to move on, thinking she got the message and would change. After this discussion, I thought it was the end of it, but she kept copying me. I thought to myself, I'm to blame for this because I let myself be clouded by my feelings of her wronging me and my friends. It's my fault she keeps doing it because I was very unpleasant in DMs. I felt bad about it ever since, so I just blocked her and moved on and never said anything publicly. But enough is enough." As here further, we have the other party, that being Tina. Suika saying, "I have consent from the chibi artist, Lol Tsunami, and the client, Lil Poogie, who the chibi model that was traced and copied from, to post these. I confronted Yena about the chibi model in DMs at the same time I talked to her about the tracing and copying of my art." As here we have this chibi, and further, this chibi, then overlaid together in the document. Suika saying, I would like to keep this private, but I would like you to apologize to me, Tina, and Poogie, since Poogie paid for these, and stop doing things like this in the future. Replying, I can assure you that the chibi model wasn't traced. It was way too heavily referenced, and that I do admit there was no intention for it to be sold.
Once is a coincidence. The second time, it's not. Like, how can you say for the second time, sorry, I was heavily influenced by your work again? And I ended up, so heavily influencing yours that it looks like that I copied it, but I didn't for the second time. Yeah, okay.
Other than for practice, and I had told Tina that it was something I should not have posted, especially if it was for practice and experimentation. I cannot admit to something I didn't do. Adding, regarding my VTuber children, they are all aware of the situation, and if need be, you can reach out to them privately, and they will be more than happy to comply. Suika saying, after I talked to Yena in DMs, she made good on her word and reached out to Tina in DMs to apologize. The following DMs are from Tina's point of view, and here you can see Yena denied tracing again. Yena saying, I wanted to follow up with another apology. I wanted to make sure you knew that I understand the gravity of the situation and how serious the accusations are. I cannot admit to something I didn't do, but I do admit it was way too heavily inspired, and while the model was not intended to be sold, it should not have been published at all. Adding, I will take them down. I didn't mean for any harm or disrespect. I just want to clarify I didn't trace. If it was just too heavily referenced and was meant to be used for practice, it won't happen again. Tina responding, I believe you did, in fact, trace my work because of how...
I mean, like, even if, let's say Yena didn't trace at all. Let's say that's 100% true. Bro, like, it's just too many contradictions on what you're saying. You're saying you're heavily inspired. You didn't mean to sell this, but you end up selling it anyway. Which doesn't make sense. Like, it's for practice. You're heavily inspired and you're practicing, and you sell this practice art that's heavily inspired based off somebody else that can be misconstrued as tracing. It's not a good idea to sell it, especially when somebody's already come to you with this issue. I won't say accusation. We'll just call it an issue. Somebody's come to you with this issue that you already agree that you are inspired by this person, and you sell it anyways. It just doesn't make you look good in general. In general, it just doesn't make you look good. Now, whether you traced or not, I mean, at this point, it doesn't even matter, because what you said earlier just puts you in a hole anyways. So it doesn't even make sense. It's not making sense.
Accurately, it lined up to Poogie's model. If it was referenced, it wouldn't be nearly 1-to-1 in the overlay. Again with, I was in class and am currently on a quick break. Saying again, I sincerely apologize that I heavily referenced your work. I can understand where you're coming from as to how it looks.
Is this like you're looking at the art and you're just drawing it freehand, even if you're not laying it over and tracing it? What does heavily inspired mean, bro? What does that even mean? What does it mean?
Looks that I traced, but I can assure you that I didn't. Suika then breaking down other design similarities over the years. As here now we have this Suika model from September of 2021, and then 3 months later from December of 2021, this model from Yena. Suika saying it has very similar hair, a cardigan shape, such as the button placement, the way it falls off the shoulders, alongside the way it is tucked into the skirt, plus a white tank top underneath, color scheme of hair and clothing. And even earlier than that, in April of 2021, we had this piece from Suika, then compared to this model that Yena had been using in 2022. Suika saying, pay attention to the bangs and the direction of the front hair, the big bow at the back of the head, the neck and claw shapes, the under dye hair, earring style, and art style in general, all minus the nose. And now we have this piece from May of 2022. Suika going with this goth chuny style as just 1 month later in June of 2022. Yena would post this character. Suika saying, please pay attention to her suddenly having animal ears, a headband, red eyes, black clothing.
Bro, it's just on top of it, like what makes it less a coincidence, it's the time, bro. It's the time frame. 1 month.
Hair streaks and the similarities on the top of the model I had further down, tied up hair. And this is all after we had discussions by way of DMs. Suika adding, I think it's noteworthy also that before that model, I had this model with a similar design to hers. Suika wrapping up the document with even more. Here are some comparisons, especially the eyes being copied still after we had discussions. Going on to show these two pieces from Yena, and then Suika following up with her pieces, emphasizing the eyes, one after another. another after another. Speaking later, adding, I clearly said multiple times there is heavy referencing and copying involved, but by no means did I claim that every single thing Yenna drew is traced off me. She uses a mix of many of my current and past model art styles, which is still my art style and is the reason why her art looks too close for comfort. Speaking lastly, tweeting, I also want to add that in no shape or form am I trying to claim all semi-realistic art styles. Every semi-realism VTuber model artist has their similarities, but also their own twists.
Yes, everybody has their own dedicated art style, which is why art is so precious to humankind, because we all have the ability to create something of our own accord. So to copy somebody else's shit is like stopping the world from experiencing what you have to create, what you can contribute to the VTuber community in this aspect. Yes, make your own stuff. Stop copying everybody else's swag, bro.
There's always going to be overlap, especially on front-facing VTuber models that are drawn in symmetry. But there is a point where the amount of similarities, the things that line up, and the history of copying paints a bigger picture. This while we're looking at the bigger picture with Elio, a silly jester axolotl VTuber, recently debuting their new look on the Twitch front page, only then to receive a ban.
Damn.
Initially saying every terms of service thing is covered in my model. Yes, it's not covered enough. I never even zoomed in on the booba toggle. I'm so upset. This model having a quote-unquote booba toggle that can change the size of, you guessed it, the booba. This VTuber receiving an actual content reasoning for the one-day ban, in response saying a whole year just to get banned. Thank you, Twitch. What an amazing platform for VTubers.
You know what? We're going to be checking out a video talking about how Twitch is dying of 1,000 cuts as we speak, but let's go ahead and check this out, and then I'll wrap up this video.
This artwork of the Jester VTuber also being shown at one point during the stream, and initially being suspected as part of the ban, while a day later, this VTuber would be unbanned, and saying, I still don't know the reason why, but I'm so grateful to have such an amazing and supportive community. Thank you to the VTubers that tried to help me. You mean so much to me. Ilya then further tweeting, just to clarify, my outfit was not the problem. After talking with other creators who have been suspended on Twitch, I figured out it's probably the toggle that enlarges my boobs. It's a joke toggle that's meant to go with my Jester character. My suspension was for actual content. If the issue had been my clothing, the reason would have said inappropriate attire. This VTuber adding on to that with, I streamed for a full 5 hours yesterday with the big boobs and the art piece that sparked all the different interpretations, and nothing happened. No bans, no violations. Meanwhile, we have the Mafia Bull VTuber Vane, alerting with YouTube just deleted my VOD channel in 2 years of VODs out of nowhere with no warning or explanation. Asking Team YouTube what changes were made to the channel that don't follow guidelines. Team YouTube responding, the first step here is to appeal. And Vane responding to that, it's difficult to submit an appeal when there is no clear explanation or communication from YouTube on what rules are broken, which videos this relates to, or what changes to the channel drove this decision. YouTube further responding, the appeal process we shared is the best process. Vane then giving this update, they rejected the appeal, the channel is gone. To add insult to injury, I cannot create a new VOD channel as it would be considered ban evasion, so now I no longer have anywhere to upload VODs for viewers to catch up on streams that they miss. Vane then later giving us this update, saying it's been a really stressful 24 hours, but I have a massive update for everyone. We got the VOD channel back. And not just that, my old ASMR channel that got the exact same treatment a year ago is now also back too. That's right, this Vane ASMR channel that had been gone for a year, according to Vane, has returned, and
caring boyfriend calms you after a long day. Oh, I see what we're getting into.
The videos are still there.
Welcome home, honey. How was your day at work?
Meaning that YouTube had retained this data on file with their servers. Then continuing with, unfortunately, there is still no explanation on why the bans happened or why the appeals were originally rejected, which is unfortunate. It sucks it took 3 reviews and a high visibility tweet for it to get resolved. I do think it highlights a large issue with the moderation process by YouTube and makes me worry about how this would have gone if not for the support and attention the post had received and all the other creators that face these challenges on a daily basis those that might not be so fortunate. And who is wrestling with another platform is KhunShawn Bun. This VTuber and artist giving us this announcement. I am opening emergency commissions on VGen. A Twitch viewer just refunded a 4,000 euro donation from over a year ago. I am now 3,300 euros in debt on PayPal.
You can do that a year ago? You can refund a donation for a year ago? Bro, that's crazy. You know, I'm just immediately thinking about all the millionaires and billionaires that are like donating to some type of profit, and then they get their taxes cleared, and then they're like, okay, refund, give me all my money back, on top of already being able to avoid taxes and shit. Yo, that's crazy. What's going on with the world?
Reporting on PayPal very quickly, we have Videres Tomei Amare sharing, I opened PayPal to check something and noticed I had 2 disputed cases for donations. Please don't donate unless you can afford to do so. As much as I appreciate it, it's absolutely not necessary. As what is necessary is Usada Pakura of Hala, Japan, tweeting out this artwork and saying, happy news, I'm actually collaborating with Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I'm so happy. It's all thanks to you. Thank you. Kojima Productions.
No, of course, it's Kojima, of course.
This morning, tweeting out this video of Pakura in the game. Hideo Kojima back on August 30th, tweeting out this.
I ain't gonna lie, his shoes look fire. But yeah, we're gonna end the video here, and we're gonna talk about this video about Twitch being a cesspool and Asmongold leaving. So yeah, we'll check those out. And yeah, it was just a look back and to see what's going on with the VTuber news. Of course, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on these situations. When it comes to the art tracing, honestly, it's like nowadays I definitely appreciate art a lot more. You know, there's a lot of people in the world that don't care about art. They think art is just whatever, some BS that you go to college for and then you go into debt. But art is intrinsic to our species in general. So for sure, we need to put more respect on art, and we need to call out whenever somebody's copying somebody else's art or copying somebody else's expression. It's not cool at all. So yeah, for sure, like find your own way to create something. That's what we should always be doing. At least that's my opinion. You know, you share what yours are down below. You know, 07 Kodaka, Saba, I'm interested to see what she's gonna create. And yeah, Twitch and YouTube suspending VTubers is quite sad. In all honesty, it's a new platform. It's not a new platform. It's a new media, and of course it has its growing pains. But honestly, like when it comes to VTubing and AI and stuff like that, like that is the future that we're living now. YouTube and Twitch, they need to adjust. You know, VTubing is a way for people to express themselves and create content on camera without having to reveal their identity. You know, and they give a different element towards entertainment, anyways. So it should be respected, and it sucks that it's getting banned and punished under pretenses that aren't malicious. You know, a big booba toggle is sure a big booba toggle. What does that have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, till next time. I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.